I just made my first horror game with me and my brother, but I only had 7 days to do so. It all started with the UDC Game Jam. This gave me 1 week to create a game with the theme on-off. When you think of things turning on and off, what's the first thing you think of? If you said light bulbs, you're wrong. It's actually hiding video games from your parents at night by turning them off and back on. For some reason, we made that scary. So for the monster, we made it someone you don't see every day, a family member you mostly visit. And who's a better example than a grumpy old grandpa? He also hates video games and wants you asleep. Now I was determined to make the best grandpa model I could, so I took my year-long experience in Blender, and I did it! I made the best grandpa Don't laugh. No, don't worry, we fixed the lips. So we have a grandpa, and a few other nifty things like a game console, a phone, a bed, and a house. My gameplay is that grandpa randomly checks in on you in rounds. Throughout the gameplay there are 7 rounds. When you enter the 7th round, you win. If he checks in on you and you're using your games, well, play the game to find out. You also have to manage a sleep bar that tells you how awake you are. To keep the player using their games, you become sleepier if you turn it off. But be careful not to run out of energy. We also needed a way to keep the players on their toes because waiting around got too repetitive and boring. So now there's spiders in the game that you have to swat away if they get too close. Spiders touching the bed summons grandpa, so make sure you're always on the lookout for spiders. Now that we got the waiting to be fun,
what's that sound?
Grandpa takes forever to check on you, and players hate any period of time that is greater than 5 seconds. So, electronics now spawn in that open your games if you fail to tap them before another timer runs out. At this point, you would think the jam was finished, but we were only 5 days in and there were so many bugs to cover. Grandpa's house was far from finished at this point, and with the deadline creeping up, I seriously started to get worried, which is why I called for help through my very own brother, who's been my co-partner through game dev. With his help, we created an intro for our game.
No games allowed.
An outro.
Where do you think you're going?
And production took off. But there was still so many bugs in the game. Like, look at this! Why did Grandpa walk in like this? I didn't even want to mention what his jump scare was like. One thing everyone can agree on is that all horror games revolve around their music. I found some pretty good free sources for music, but my brother recorded all the grandpa's voice lines. We replaced the god-awful checking sound. Like, just look at this. Terrible. So we replaced basically everything, and now the game is finished, just short of 10 hours left in the jam. We didn't win. Anyways, Grandpa's house became so popular on YouTube that we decided to put it on Steam for more people. By the time you see this video, you can probably wishlist or buy Grandpa's house on Steam. After all the fees were paid and we paid for a font license that my brother pointed out we needed, we were ready to put Grandpa's house on Steam. So that's how I created my first horror game in 7 days. So go get Grandpa's house and see you later.